It's a Monday morning, and it's been a long weekend that we are looking at as the markets now reopen. And that will happen in just a bit, because this is something that has now been expected, because the world and the Asian markets are now bracing for this very impact to this latest threat and warning and ultimatum that has been issued by President Trump. Now, as far as rupee is now concerned, it is now opened at 93 per dollar. The currency, however, opened stronger versus close. What we are now looking at, because this seems to be a very marginal gain for the rupee, and it seems to be edging higher at the open, and this seems to be a slight recovery. Mitali is joining us here on the broadcast. Mitali, good morning. Thank you very much for taking out your time. Just help us understand, as far as Indian currency versus the dollar is concerned. Rupee opens flat. There is a marginal gain against the US dollar, because the rupee opened 3 paisa higher at 93.13 against the US dollar, and it settled around 93.10 a dollar on Thursday.
Right, so there has been seen an appreciation in the rupee, rightly said, and based on the RBI's recent action that we saw, that they have tried to pull in the rupee pressure to some extent. Also, we see that there has been some improvement in the Brent crude prices also, that above $110 mark is now moving below that, and it's currently hovering around 109.91. And for the Indian markets as well, we see a green positive for the Indian markets. As the markets are opening up, it is kind of a flattish opening as of now. Nifty is 0.11% up, with a 24 to 25 points upside which is being seen right now. And if you see sectorally, Nifty Bank, there we see good positive momentum based on the recent business updates that these banks have pulled in. Also, Nifty IT is gaining some momentum, 47 points upside there also can be seen. If we talk about the Nifty gainers, let's have a look at that. And we have Brent among the gaining streak after delivering a strong business update for the quarter. That stock is up 3%. Wipro, Power Grid, Titan, all these stocks are actually in the gaining streak in today's market, while Adani Ports, Bajaj Finance, Eternal, Tata Steel, ICICI Bank, there some pressure is being seen. Although their deposits in the banking and the NBFC space, if you see, good numbers were posted, but even after that, Bajaj Finance is down 1.22%, and Kotak Mahindra Bank another 1.5% down. So overall, if you see, markets are in the positive, actually a flattish streak as of now.
Yes, but what are we looking at as far as these seasonal trends are also concerned, Mitali? Because this seems to be how the Asian markets have been also bracing, because the markets that mainly run on sentiments and statements there, but this seems to be a statement that came in from President Trump of a wider escalation. Markets would immediately react, isn't it, Mitali?
Right, so markets are bracing up for that, since Gift Nifty was also seen a bit up in the morning, but we'll wait for the upcoming remarks of what Iran is going to do against the Trump's recent threats, giving the ultimatum to Iran.
Right, but do you believe that, as far as Indian equities are looking at a very cautious approach, because this is the start of the new financial year, that what we are looking at, and comparison to the other previous years that we are also looking at right after this long weekend, how does it look as far as the approach is now concerned? Is it more cautious?
It is cautious as of all we see, is because we have seen the FIs are pulling back, but the DIs have actually maintained their momentum. The buying streak has actually been on a positive side. So it is a cautious approach, but also will depend on the Q4 earnings which is lined up for the coming month. Since the IT stocks, you see IT, Infosys and TCS also, they have their earnings lined up. So based on that also, the fundamentals might be looking at a positive side. But yeah, the the Middle East conflicts, they seem to be hovering around, and we'll look on to the upcoming remarks from both the sides.
How have been the Asian markets now opening up to this? Because when it comes to Kospi, when it comes to Nikkei, that seems to be the very sentiment that has also been now expected, that would be also seen here on the opening of the Indian markets now that they have. What are we looking at as far as Japan, South Korea and Hong Kong are concerned?
So if you see the indices in the global, so the Dow Jones is 0.13% down, while I cannot actually comment. I am having some bit of a trouble in the technical part, which
no problem. But Mithali, if you can tell us about when it comes to the hovering prices of Brent crude, because that is where a lot of volatility that is being witnessed. $110 per mark. And we have seen the highs of almost $119 per mark as well. But such statements that has been given previously when President Trump addressed the nation, there was a slight indication of a recovery as well. Those gains, does that translate into when it comes to the Brent crude prices as well? Because that is where what we are expecting, that the maximum impact would be borne by the common man. However, we don't see that happening in India as of now.
Right, so the $110 mark has been breached and we are currently trading 109.87. Also, OPEC Plus has recently rolled down the recent update where they have increased the crude prices, where they've actually increased the crude supply to moving to 206,000 BPD for India. And that you see from the last 3 months, there was a pause in that supply, but there we have seen an upside in the supply. But talking about the Iran, the war escalation has actually put down a great of pressure on the oil futures.
Yes.
So we'll have a look on that.
All right. So the market updates that now we are looking at almost after this long weekend. What we are looking at as far as the rupee is concerned, there has still been a modest opening for the rupee, but however, the concerns still raise over and around the Brent crude prices that have still gone up because of the volatility that seems to be attached to the other markets and indices as well, which seems to have a bearing on the Indian stock markets too. Mithali, thank you very much. Appreciate you joining us here on the broadcast. We're going to head into a very short break.